The warehouse smelled of rust, concrete, and something worse, defeat. Rows of metal cages lined the long corridor, each holding a canine unit retired from service, waiting to be auctioned off like broken tools. Some paced restlessly. Others lay still, their eyes dulled by time and abandonment. The sharp voice of the auctioneer shattered the stale silence. She's just a kid. What the hell is she doing here alone? All heads turned. Uniformed officers, military contractors, and men in tailored suits froze mid-step. A girl, no older than 12, stood just beyond the threshold, her grey hoodie soaked through, rain dripping from the ends of her dark hair. Her boots left wet footprints behind her as she stepped forward. In her hand, she clutched a folded paper. It trembled, but her gaze didn't. Her name's Leah Monroe. Someone muttered from the back. She's the daughter of Officer Jacob Monroe, the one who died last year. The room shifted. The tension softened. Conversations stopped. Even the caged dogs stilled. One, a sable German shepherd with burning amber eyes, moved forward in his cage, pressing against the bars. He didn't bark. He only stared at her. Leah walked forward. Her steps were careful but sure. The farther she moved into the warehouse, the more everyone watched her. She wasn't lost. She was looking for something or someone. She stopped at cage 19. The dog inside stood slowly, quietly, like he already knew her. His posture was alert but calm. He didn't growl or move with aggression, only recognition. The auctioneer approached her cautiously. "Kid, this isn't a place for children. You need to come back with a guardian." Leah said nothing. She reached into her hoodie pocket and handed him 2 pieces of paper. One was her father's death certificate. The other was a letter from the department chaplain. His name, Officer Jacob Monroe, was printed in bold at the top of both. The man glanced over them. His expression shifted. "You're here for him, aren't you?" he asked, gesturing toward cage 19. "That's Ranger. He was your dad's partner." Leah finally spoke. "He's not for sale." The auctioneer frowned. "Legally, he is. After your father died, Ranger was retired. Too aggressive. Couldn't be reassigned. He's state property now." Leah didn't flinch. "I brought money." She reached into her backpack and pulled out a worn envelope, bulging with crumpled bills. "It's everything I've saved." "It's enough." The room went quiet again. Some handlers exchanged skeptical glances. One of them, a grizzled man with a scar under his eye, stepped forward. "You really think a kid like you can handle that dog?" He bit 3 officers after Monroe's funeral. "He didn't lose control," Leah said. "He was grieving." Behind her, Ranger let out a soft, broken whine. The kind of sound a dog makes when it sees something it thought was gone forever. The auctioneer looked around. No one moved to intervene. No one had the heart. He sighed. Cage 19. Sold. He reached for the keys. Before he could unlock it, Ranger slammed his weight into the cage door. It rattled so hard the bolts groaned. Men reached for tasers. Commands were shouted. "Don't." Leah screamed. She threw herself in front of the cage. "He's not attacking. He's trying to get to me." Everything froze. Ranger stood completely still, muscles tight, ears forward, eyes locked on her. Not a hint of aggression, only longing. The auctioneer's hand shook as he unlocked the cage. "Back away, girl." Leah didn't listen. She stepped closer and knelt down, palm open. "You remember me, don't you?" she whispered. Ranger took 1 step, then another. His scarred shoulder caught the light. A deep gash still marked where A bullet had torn through him months ago. He sniffed her hand, then pressed his snout into her palm and sank against her, not in a show of dominance, in surrender, in trust. Leia wrapped her arms around him. Her voice cracked. I missed you. He's gone, but I'm still here. Around them, the hardened men and women of service stood still. The ferocious, broken dog was no longer snarling. He was curled in the arms of a child. Then a new voice cut through the air. Is this the Monroe girl? Leia turned. A tall man in a black coat stepped through a side entrance. He flashed a government badge without slowing down. His features were clean-shaven, sharp, cold. He knelt down near Ranger. The dog growled low in warning. The man didn't flinch. Special Agent Harrow, he said. I need to speak with you about your father's last assignment. Leia's stomach dropped. What do you mean? Harrow handed her a sealed folder. A red stamp on the front read, classified. Your father didn't die in a car crash, he said. He died on assignment. And Ranger isn't just a retired dog. He's the only witness left. Leia's breath caught. They told me it was a robbery. They lied. Your father was chasing something, and someone didn't want him to come back. Before she could ask another question, Ranger barked sharply. His body turned toward the exit. A shadow flickered beyond the warehouse door. Harrow snapped the folder shut. His voice was low and urgent. Grab your things. We need to leave. Now. Rain lashed the windshield as the black SUV tore through winding back roads. Inside, Leia sat in the back seat, clutching the folder to her chest. Ranger lay beside her, head resting on her thigh, his body tense with alertness. Agent Harrow drove. In silence, eyes scanning the mirrors. Where are we going? Leia asked. Somewhere safe, Harrow said. A cabin off-grid. It's been clean for years. She glanced down at Ranger. His ears were still twitching, tracking every sound outside. They finally pulled off the road, bumping down a dirt path into thick woods. A clearing opened, and there stood a small wooden cabin. It looked ordinary, but when Harrow unlocked it, it was clear this place had a purpose. Inside were maps, hard drives, old surveillance photos, and a line of coffee cups long since dried out. There was a generator humming in the back room. A projector sat ready on the table. Your father used this place before he died, Harrow explained. He was working a covert op under the radar. Very few people knew. Leia laid the folder on the table and slowly opened it. Inside were reports, personnel files, and a note in her father's handwriting. If anything happens, find Ranger. He knows. A tear slipped down her cheek. Ranger gave a quiet nudge against her arm. Harrow activated the projector. A map appeared, dotted with red pins across multiple states. Faces filled the screen, some blurred, others scratched out with red ink. Your father was investigating a rogue operative, Danton Riggs, former intelligence, black ops, specialized in behavioral conditioning. He ran illegal training programs for dogs and handlers. Leia's hands clenched into fists. Like Ranger. Harrow nodded grimly. They called it Project Umbra. Dogs like Ranger were enhanced, conditioned to obey under extreme stimulus. Your father infiltrated the network, then vanished in a car explosion. They said it was an accident. She whispered, double quotes, no. It was thermite, clean, military grade. There were no remains left to test, just a badge and a watch. Enough to fake a death. Leia's breathing quickened. So what do you want from me? She asked. I'm just a kid. You're the only person Ranger trusts now, Harrow said, and Ranger remembers more than he shows. He could lead us to where Riggs is hiding. Ranger stood suddenly. His body tensed. He moved to the front window. Then the glass shattered. Down, Harrow shouted, tackling Leia behind the couch. As gunfire ripped through the wall, Ranger launched toward the broken window with a vicious snarl. Shadows moved outside. We're compromised, Harrow growled. He tossed a burner phone to Leia and handed her a flash drive. Run west. There's a ranger station in the woods. Find it. Use that drive when you're safe. Leia hesitated. What about you? I'll buy you time. Go, Ranger growled. Low, already at the back door, Leia grabbed the folder and followed. They fled into the forest, dodging branches and ducking under fallen logs. The rain had stopped, but the trees were slick. Ranger led the way, stopping only to sniff the air and adjust their path. Gunfire cracked behind them. They ran harder. Eventually, the trees thinned, revealing a small wooden structure. The sign outside had fallen off, but the broken windows and rusted hinges said enough. It was the old ranger station. Inside, dust covered everything, but it was secure. Ranger sniffed through cabinets until he pawed at a hidden panel. Inside was a sealed box. Leia opened it slowly. Photos, flash drives, her father's old badge. She pulled out 2 labeled drives. One read, Riggs, the other Umbra. Do not open without me. Her phone buzzed. No number, just 4 words. He's not dead. Run. She looked out the window. A flicker of movement. Ranger stood. Growling again, they ran once more. The woods ended at a clearing. At the center was a sleek black SUV. The engine was off, but the presence was unmistakable. A man stepped out, tall, scar across his neck, cold eyes. Danton Riggs. He looked directly at her. From his coat, he pulled something long and thin. A dog whistle. He blew it. No sound, but Ranger staggered. His muscles tensed violently. His legs trembled. No, Leia whispered. Stay with me, Riggs. Walked forward slowly. He remembers now. I trained him myself. Your father tried to overwrite it. But you can't delete what's burned in. He's not yours anymore, she said. Riggs smiled coldly. You don't understand. That dog was never loyal to your father. He was engineered to obey. That bond you think you have, it's artificial. She knelt and grabbed Ranger's face. Look at me. You chose him. You protected me. You stayed. That was you, not programming. Ranger's body convulsed once more. Then he looked at her, and something changed. His eyes cleared. He turned back toward Riggs and lunged. Ranger slammed into Riggs with the full force of everything he remembered. The training, the pain, the betrayal, and the choice to break free from all of it. The dog whistle flew from Riggs' hand, disappearing into the underbrush. He grunted. As he hit the ground, scrambling to pull something from his belt, a stun baton crackled to life. But Ranger was faster. Teeth sank into Riggs' shoulder. The man cried out, twisting, trying to shake him off, but the German shepherd held firm, pinning him like a soldier on the battlefield. Leia ran. She found the whistle and crushed it under her boot. Call off your men, she shouted. Riggs spat blood. You think I came with backup? But he was stalling. His hand inched toward his side pocket. Leia didn't wait. She stepped forward and held up the flash drive labeled Riggs. You'll want to stop, because I have everything. What you did to those dogs. What you did to my father. Riggs froze. His eyes widened not in fear, but calculation. You opened the drive. No, Leia said, but I will. And I'll hand it to every news station, every military tribunal, every journalist in the country. You don't even know what's on it. I don't have to. You do. Riggs looked at Ranger, still growling inches from his throat. Then came the sound of blades, helicopters, dozens of them, sweeping over the treetops. Sirens followed ground, teams crashing through the forest. Leia stepped back as federal agents in tactical gear flooded the clearing. Ranger didn't move until a familiar voice called out, "Stand down," Agent Harrow shouted, emerging from the trees. Ranger backed off slowly. Harrow approached, bruised but alive. "You led us right to him. The drive, the files. You did it," Riggs chuckled, lips bloodied. "You think you're heroes. You have no idea what you're playing with. Umbra wasn't the worst of it. There are others. Other dogs, other projects. We'll find them," Harrow said, "starting with you." The agents moved in. Riggs didn't resist. Maybe he knew it was over. Maybe he was planning something else. But at that moment, for Leia and Ranger, the storm had passed. Later that night, the federal safe house was quiet. Leia sat beside Ranger on a worn leather couch, a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. Harrow entered, holding 2 mugs of hot cocoa. "You earned this," he said, handing one to her. She accepted it silently, eyes still wide from everything that had happened. Harrow sat across from her. "The flash drives are secure. Your dad was keeping tabs on more than just Riggs. Names, accounts, hidden labs. We're piecing it together." "Is my dad?" Her voice cracked. Could he really still be alive? Harrow paused. "We don't know. The tip could have been a misdirect. But there's a chance." "A small one," Leia nodded. "That's enough for me to keep going." He leaned forward. "We'll need your help. You and Ranger. That bond you to have. It's real. We saw it." Today, she looked at the dog curled up beside her. Calm, safe. "Home, can I keep him?" she asked. Harrow smiled. "No one's separating you two again. He's already yours." Weeks passed. News outlets broke the story of Project Umbra. Whistleblowers came forward. Other dogs were recovered traumatized, some beyond saving, others still capable of healing. Riggs faced federal charges. His silence was broken only by the fear in his eyes every time Ranger entered the room. Leia returned to school quietly, but the world around her had changed. Some nights she still woke in a cold sweat. Ranger was always there, pressing against her side, reminding her she wasn't alone. Then, one evening, Harrow visited again. He brought a small envelope. Inside was a photo, grainy, taken from a surveillance camera in South America. A man with Jacob Monroe's build. Same watch, same scar on the temple. Alive. Leia looked up at Harrow. His voice was soft. "We don't have confirmation yet, but we're going after him." Ranger stood as if he already knew. Leia's grip tightened on the photo. "Then we're coming with you." The sky burned orange as the plane crossed into the next horizon. Leia sat by the window. Ranger rested his head on her lap. Beside them, a duffel bag held a new badge, fresh credentials, and the first mission briefing of what could be many. The mission was bigger than both of them now, but it had started with a girl in a hoodie, a folded piece of paper, and a dog waiting in cage 19. It started with family, and it wasn't over. Not yet.